over my house while I was on vacation, and now she thinks she owns it. My sister was always the golden child growing up because she had health issues as a baby. She recovered completely, but my parents never stopped treating her special. She constantly took my things, and I had to accept it. When I turned 18, my parents kicked me out so they could expand her bedroom. They gave me 3 days. I spent years rebuilding, homeless shelters, working multiple jobs, eventually starting my own company, getting married, and buying a house in a nice neighborhood. Last month, my wife and I planned a 2-week trip to Portugal. The day before we left, my sister texted asking to water my plants while we were gone. I hesitated because of our history, but eventually agreed and left a key under the mat. Day 3 of our trip, I'm eating breakfast in Lisbon when my neighbor sends a photo. My sister's car is in my driveway with a full-size moving truck behind it and 2 guys unloading boxes. I immediately FaceTime her. She answers casually from my living room, explaining her apartment lease ended last week and she decided to move in temporarily. She'd be gone before I returned, so what's the problem? I told her to pack everything and leave immediately. She actually laughed at me, said I was being way too dramatic, and hung up. She ignored my next 5 calls. Next morning, my neighbor sent a full video walkthrough. She'd completely rearranged all my furniture, hung her own artwork on the walls, moved my wife's decorative items to the garage, and replaced our family photos with hers. But the worst part was her Instagram. She was posting multiple stories showing off her new place, giving full house tours to her friends. One video showed her in my kitchen saying, "My brother finally did something useful and let me crash here. Honestly, might just stay permanently. It's way nicer than my old place." Her friends were commenting things like, "You totally deserve this," and "Free rent queen." My wife was absolutely furious. I immediately called a locksmith company that does remote services. For $400, they sent someone that afternoon to change every lock. Front door, back door, garage, side gate. New keys went to my trusted neighbor. Then I called police non-emergency and explained someone was illegally occupying my home while I was out of the country. They sent an officer within the hour. My neighbor watched everything unfold and sent updates. The cop knocked and my sister answered, looking confused. The officer explained the homeowner reported unauthorized occupation. She tried showing the water plants text as proof of permission. The cop looked at it and said that's absolutely not permission to move in with furniture. He gave her exactly 1 hour to remove all possessions or face criminal trespassing charges. She tried calling me multiple times while the cop stood there. I sent every call to voicemail. She tried calling my parents. They were at work and didn't answer. My neighbor said she completely broke down crying while frantically throwing things into boxes. Her friends who had helped her move in were now helping her move out, looking extremely annoyed. The moving truck had to return and reload everything. The whole ordeal took nearly 3 hours, and the officer waited the entire time. About 30 minutes after she left, my phone exploded with calls and texts. My parents were blowing up my phone. My mom left a screaming voicemail about how I humiliated my sister in front of all her friends and the police. My dad sent multiple texts saying I was cruel and heartless for kicking family onto the street. I didn't respond for hours. When I finally called back that evening, I stayed completely calm. I explained she broke into my house, moved in without real permission, rearranged everything, and posted about it publicly on social media. My mom interrupted saying I was exaggerating and family helps family in tough times. I told them if they felt so strongly about it, she could move in with them instead. Complete silence. Then my dad quietly said their house was too small and they didn't have room. I couldn't help myself.